What could a grim 1970s British horror film and a 1980s supernatural comedy possibly have in common? Today, we're diving into The Asphyx and Ghostbusters, two films that look completely different on the surface but share some surprisingly ghostly DNA. Science meets the supernatural. The Asphyx is a 1972 British horror science fiction directed by Peter Newbrook and starring Robert Stevens and Robert Powell. It didn't quite get the praise it deserved at the time, but now rightfully regarded as a cult classic. Meanwhile, Ghostbusters is a 1984 comedy supernatural blockbuster hit which led to a franchise of variable returns. While Ghostbusters is clearly the more successful film with its box office success and fully realized idea from page to the screen, The Asphyx leaves a lasting impression with its handling of hubris and immortality. What do you think? Leave a comment below. In Victorian-era England, a scientist builds strange contraptions to capture the very spirit of death. Heavy machines, flickering lights, and a belief that mortality itself can be bottled up. Fast forward to the 1980s, and Ghostbusters introduces us to proton packs and ghost traps. The same idea, the supernatural as something scientific, mechanical, and controllable, just dressed up for a different audience. Catching the Uncatchable. Both films are obsessed with trapping the untrappable. In The Asphyx, it's about immortality. If you can imprison your death spirit, you live forever. Main character Hugo Cunningham develops this theory after witnessing the tragic deaths of his son and future daughter-in-law. He then tests his theory in a gruesome experiment during a public execution. In Ghostbusters, it's purely about business. Catch a ghost, collect a fee, and keep New York spook-free. Same concept as The Asphyx, but totally different goals. One promises eternal life, the other promises supernatural extermination services. Tone and era contrast. This is where the films really diverge. The Asphyx is gothic, slow, and drenched in moral weight. It feels like a warning. Death is inevitable, and trying to escape it is folly. Ghostbusters, on the other hand, is fast, witty, and soaked in pop culture energy. Ghostbusters says the supernatural can be scary, but also hilarious. Same theme, two totally different cultural moods. One haunted by the fear of mortality, the other making ghosts into Saturday morning cartoon villains. So next time you watch Ghostbusters, remember that over a decade earlier, The Asphyx was trying to bust death itself. One ended in tragedy, the other in comedy, but both were chasing the same ghostly idea, two sides of the same supernatural coin. Hubris and Consequences. But here's the catch, which both films address in their own way. Meddling with forces we don't understand never goes well. In The Asphyx, every attempt to cheat death ends in tragedy. In Ghostbusters, their quirky tinkering alerts city officials and unleashes Gozer, nearly wiping Manhattan off the map. Whether it's Victorian England or 1980s New York, both films remind us, play with fire, get burned. If you enjoyed this dive into similarities between The Asphyx and Ghostbusters, don't forget to like and subscribe to this new channel. Tales of Terror, Electric Boogaloo.